Where do you go when all doors are shut? When every advice that you've been given has not worked, actually made it worse? That's what we're looking at as we look at yesterday's sermon and bringing it to application for our everyday use. Well, Laura preached on Esther 4, and in Esther 4, Esther hears about this horrendous plan of Haman to actually eradicate all the Jewish people. First response of her is like, head in the sand, ignore. But then Mordecai, her uncle, tells her, you know what? If you keep silent at this time, verse 14 in Esther 4, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. That itself is a sermon, right? Either we're part of the plan of salvation or we're not, but God is going to achieve his plan either way. But you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. This, again, is a sermon in itself. God has called you for this time. So when you feel you're in a cul-de-sac, when you feel like you're in a dead end, God has called you to this place. This is not a dead end. You can still go to the Lord. And so she says, her answer then is, well, let's get together. Let's all pray for 3 days, fast, 3 nights, full on. Don't eat or drink. That is full on. 3 days, that's the maximum you can do with no drinking, right? I don't advise you to do this, by the way. Esther says, let's do it. Let's pray. And then I will go to the king. And if I perish, I perish. So she knows she cannot go to the king. Why? Because if you're not summoned, if you're not called to the king, then if you just approach the throne, you're being seen as a threat to the kingdom. And so out you go. She knew she could be killed. So now she knows the door is closed to the king. He hasn't been calling her for a while, so maybe he's been entertaining somebody else. That's the type of king he was. What does she do? She goes to the only king she knows. She goes to the throne of grace. This is what Laura read to us in Hebrews 4. Hebrews 4, verse 16 says, let us then, with confidence, draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. There's always a way forward, which is prayer. Prayer is what you can bring to God every day, anytime, in any situation. Maybe, just maybe, when all advices haven't worked, when there's a dead end in your workplace, when in your relationship there's no way forward, there's no way backwards, there's no way sideways, you're just stuck, then there's a way upwards to the Lord. Maybe, just maybe, when you don't have anything to solve it, in fact, everything you've tried, the way out is through prayer, by approaching the throne of grace. Esther is stuck. Certainly, right? If she doesn't do anything, she's going to be killed. If she approaches the king, she's going to be killed. Whatever she does, she's going to be killed. So where does she go? She goes to the Lord. And I think that's such a simple message, and it's the best one that Laura could have taken, honestly, because prayer is the key. Prayer is the key forward. Prayer is the way out. And so, simple application for today, spend some time in prayer. If you're not in stress, if you're not in a dead end today, then you might not feel the same alarm. But you know what? If you have a prayer life on the day of threat, on the day of if I perish, I perish, then you have to have the prayer life built up for that moment so you can go to the Lord. Because if you don't have it by then, how are you going to access the throne of grace? How are you going to know how to get there? So let's be a church that builds up our prayer life day by day, by day, by day, by day, by day. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful week.